Hello and welcome to another episode of Fulham Chronicles. Hello, Melinda.
Hi, Zara.
Should we discuss about what a great year we had and all of the achievements and everything that Fulham Social Hub's been up to, and a podcast and the events, and wow, we've done a lot.
We've done a lot, not even a full year, but yes, 7 months or something.
Almost.
But 6 months of this. So yes, great. So here we are for another episode. And who have we got today?
So today we've got the lovely Laura Everton, which is the Health Development Manager for Fulham FC Foundation. Hello, Laura.
Hi both, nice to see you both.
Lovely to having you here.
Yeah, welcome.
Thanks. So let's it's a lot to discuss about, but let's start with the beginning. So how long are you calling Fulham FC Foundation your home and your work? You can call it that way because we work, we are at work more than we are at home. So
yeah, I mean, it definitely feels like a home to me. It was actually my 5-year work anniversary yesterday.
Congratulations.
So timely. But yeah, so I've been at Fulham Football Club Foundation for 5 years now. And as a charity, we've been around for 20 years. So I've only seen a small proportion of it, but it's been a time full of a lot of change, given we had the pandemic in the middle and all sorts going on. We've grown a lot since then, probably about by 30 members of staff. So it's quite a big place now. But yeah, it's really exciting.
So talk us through your role for the foundation. So what are you in charge of, and what are your greatest achievements so far in your 5 years anniversary?
Oh, good question. So my role particularly, I've always been involved in our health and wellbeing programs. So I oversee our programs that we run for adults specifically in the community, and we work with young people as well. So that's looking after loneliness and social isolation, particularly for older adults, but also working with young people, children and adults with disabilities, to improve their mental health as well. And we run a walking football programme as well that sort of comes across both of those aims. So that's the main hub of my role. I oversee a team of people who sort of go out and actually run these programmes and do a brilliant job at making sure that we are making a big impact in the community. But the other side of my role is also working with partners in our local community, people like the Sands End Arts and Community Centre, to run some of these sessions and actually be out there meeting local people, and making a bigger difference in the local community.
And when you talk community, you're talking about not only about here in Fulham, but you're also talking about Surrey as well?
Yeah, so we work across what we call South West London, and that's kind of our little section. So Hammersmith and Fulham comes into that for us, and we particularly focus on that kind of south end of the borough, but we do have things that run all over. And then we work with Lambeth, Merton, Kingston, Wandsworth, and that sort of hub of North Surrey as well. So we cover what we see as quite a small geographic area in the grand scheme of things, but actually it's quite large. We engage with, last year we engaged with just over 11,000 people. So although we see ourselves as a small charity, that is quite a big impact that we're trying to have.
Brilliant. So I know that you're going to schools as well, and I think it's so important. Like me and Melinda are giving our lovely neighbourhood a voice. You're giving young children a voice when it comes to sports and when it comes to their life and their mental health, as you said. So talk us through that for a bit. Like what types of programs are you running, and where can one see them and all of that?
Yeah. So we run programs under what we call 8 different themes. So we have a primary education theme, secondary education, training and careers, football and sports participation, disability, women and girls, pathways for like football and playing, and then health and wellbeing as well, and youth and community. So under each of those, we have programs that, under our mission to build better lives through sport and create a healthy, thriving, and inclusive community, use football as a hook to get people involved in different opportunities and things like that. So, good example of primary schools. We engage with primary schools across all of those boroughs that I mentioned, and we run a program called Premier League Primary Stars that goes into primary schools, and it gives young people and children the opportunity to get a little bit more support with their education, but also a little bit more support being physically active. And alongside all of these programs, we run mental health workshops as well that support young people to understand how to support each other, not just themselves, and things like that, and really know where to go for that support if they want to talk about something. But we run multiple programs that are funded by the Premier League Charitable Fund. Things that work in the community like Premier League Kicks. So that works with children, I think from the age of 8 now up to the age of 18, trying to reduce youth crime and violence. So we run, I think, probably about 30 sessions a week across that programme, 20 to 30, something like that. And we also run a programme called Made in Fulham, which is funded by the Premier Leagues and the Professional Footballers Association Community Fund. And that is trying to provide people from the age of 16 plus the opportunity to get a little bit more work experience and train up to be a football coach and give them the opportunity to actually come in and do some volunteering and get some proper work experience through a 12-week programme, and we'll give them that qualification at the end of it as well. And then quite a few actually have now already become a coach with us in employment, which is really, really cool.
That's so fantastic.
Yeah, that is lovely.
Yeah.
So how, like, obviously we are so glad to have discovered you, and for you to have come to one of our events, and that's how it pretty much happened. But how would people know of your existence? Like, are you running like an open day? Are you I think the bigger question is, are you involved with the Fulham FC Stadium? Are you running, like an open day there for like residents to come along? We're obviously talking about Fulham here, but just talk us through the process of welcoming the community, because you are all about the community.
Yeah, definitely. And for us, it works in so many different ways. Depends on the age group a lot of the time. We do run events at the stadium, but it's not always open events, but we're there on match days a lot of the time, raising awareness about our programmes. We're often in the match day programme with something to let people know about where we are and what we're doing. Typically, most of our sessions in the Fulham area, I think, are free, and people can find out about them either on fulhamfc.com/foundation, or we've got fulhamsoccerschools.com where people can find out about
put these
children's
links down. So, obviously people, because I think so many people would want to make use of it, but I genuinely think that not everyone knows of it. Now let's go to the wonderful thing you're doing for the disabled. Am I right to say that you're the only, or one of the only foundations that are putting a lot of strength into helping children and youths with disabilities and elderly, or you correct me.
So us and our fellow club community organisations, so that's all the different charities of different football clubs, we all do this, but we all do it in different ways.
Right.
So you'll find some of those other football club charities might just run different sessions in different areas. In Fulham, I know that our disability team do run quite a good cohort of programmes. They work really well with the Stephen Wiltshire Centre, and they are trying to work harder with like the family programme that the council are running to try and support parents and carers and children with disabilities as well, to just be more of a cohort and be more well supported in this area. We also are supporting a homeless charity called St Mungo's, who have many different hubs in this borough, and we run a free session for them on a Tuesday afternoon, which we call More Than a Game Football. It's all about mental health support integrated with football and just getting people active, but really a group of people who just get forgotten about a lot and don't get enough. People who are homeless because of their mental health usually and addictions, and of course multiple different disabilities and things like that. So we run those programmes from Ilbrook Common so that it's nice and close and actually everybody can access it.
I think it's a brilliant thing to to be doing. And honestly, until I have actually gotten to meet you, I didn't know of their existence. So yeah, we need to think about ways of making others more aware of what the wonderful thing that you're doing, because I'm 100% positive you will need volunteers and people to be there backing you up and raising as much awareness as possible. Right.
What have you got? Any new initiatives or things coming up that for next year? We're sort of getting to the end of 2024. What's the big plans in the mix for 25?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think we always have new things going. That it's a place of change, but positive change at all times for us. Trying to think of all the different new things. We just recently ran a women's walking football tournament, and this is something that's really important to us, improving women and girls engagement. So I think one of our biggest ambitions for 2025 is running more activities for women and girls. We'll be launching a new walking football session in Ilbrook Common around April time, hopefully. And we hope that to engage more women in the borough, but also for men who have less engagement with their health services, people who find it quite stigmatizing to talk about what's going on with them, and provide them with an area where actually they can do that. So that's definitely one of our key things for 2025. We are always looking to grow our programs, and I think probably beyond 2025 we're looking to make sure that we have an offering in each of those boroughs that I mentioned that we work in, and that's really, really important to us. And upcoming, I think March time, we'll also have what we call the Children's Book Project. We run that at the stadium around World Book Day. The Children's Book Project, I believe, are an organisation, charity themselves, and essentially the idea is that everyone who comes to a match day comes and donates a book, and you can do that in the club shop as well, for I think it's like a couple of weeks or so up until then, and we take all of those donated books and give them to the community and different schools in Hammersmith and Fulham, and surrounding areas, to try and help young people improve their love of reading. So that's one of the big things that will be coming up in 2025.
Yeah, that's great. So it's not just all a focus about playing football, and
no, definitely
there's
not.
lots of other things going on.
Yeah, there's always so much going on, and I think football is sort of that first little nugget that we give people to that pique their interest, and then people come on board and take part in all the different programs. Like I mentioned, our Premier League Kicks program that gives young people the opportunity to play football and take part in tournaments and things, but it also gives them the opportunity to learn incredible skills, like they get the opportunity to do their FA Playmaker course, which is a sort of first step into coaching. They get volunteering and mentor experience, and we also do different types of workshops with the Met Police, and we've had sort of first aid workshops and things like that before, just to give them that little bit of extra that comes along with that.
And also because it's, if you think about sort of all these clubs and activities, they can be so expensive, and not everybody can afford to sort of do that. And as we know, sports has been cut back so massively within schools, because it's just also become not affordable for them either. So it's great that you can pick up those pieces of it.
Yeah, definitely. And a lot of the programs that we offer are free for people to take part in, which is great. And we also offer a foundation bursary, so that for those programs that we run which aren't free of charge, people have the opportunity to apply to come on board and take part in those still, because you're right, there's so much deprivation around, and really not much opportunity to be physically active anymore, because of a lot of different cuts, as you say. So we're trying to do what we can to make sure that people are staying healthy and being active, but also finding something that will really improve their lives.
The only thing that I keep thinking about, you talking about this, amazing work that you guys are doing, is why do I still hear, like people out there saying that I wish my son will play football, but we can't really afford it, or I wish, there'll be more programs out there. So, I think people don't really know of all of this fantastic work that you guys are doing. And I think what Melinda's asked there, I think 2025, it will definitely be our focus, and I'm sure it's going to be yours as well.
Yeah.
But you are offering the borough something that it's actually extraordinary, and it doesn't really. I don't think you're asking questions. Can you afford, paying for it? Because if people can afford doing this stuff, they will, in a way or another, sponsor you or do something else in a different way. So then you would know.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's a lot of information. When you expect, like, what is a football club's foundation doing, you would think, as Melinda, pointed it out there, it's all to do with football. But no, I think it's so much more. And it's in actually building a community, as you said, of, young children that are passionate about sports or passionate about community or passionate about, other things in so many ways that you are running things through.
You always get this the conversation about children feeling that they need to kind of belong somewhere. And that's why sometimes they can go down a dangerous path, because they get picked up by sort of, people engaging in other activities. And so they get pulled into that because they have a sense of belonging. That becomes the alternative sort of family or tribe or, group that they want to belong to. On the positive side of it, do you feel that you get some kids who start with you early and you've seen them go all the way through to become young adults and see a change in them? Or
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one of the things that is really important to us, or two of the things actually that are really important to us, one is creating that sense of belonging, and the other is supporting pathways and transitions for people. They're two things that contribute directly to our strategy. And actually, that's one of the things that we'll be reviewing in 2025 is that the right way to go? Are we still in the right direction? There's a really good example, and I hope he won't mind me saying, of this. One of our colleagues, who's our youth and community manager, Has Mohammed, has been that person who was a young person who was a participant with us through our Premier League Kicks programme. Used to just come along.
I think he's just proud of you, mentioning him, because that, when you feel like people are giving you as an example, you are really an example of your hard work and the things that it works.
Yeah, and Huss was brought into the coaching team, given an opportunity to get his qualification with us through our previous youth and community manager, Paul Smithers, who's no longer with us. And Paul sort of nurtured Huss and brought him into the group. Huss then got a contracted role as our youth engagement officer around
brilliant.
5 years ago, just before I started, and has been with us ever since, and is now our youth and community manager, offering the same opportunities to young people that he was given when he was a young person. And we've seen, I can't even count on one hand or two hands how many young people have come through that exact same pathway and are now doing things like one of our young coaches, Kira Barker, was nominated and shortlisted for the Young Star Award at the Women of the Future Awards because of her journey. She's now at university, she's coaching with us, and hopefully someday we'll go on to do incredible things like the rest of them. So yeah, there's some really, really cool stories there about how that is so important to us, about making sure that young people get those opportunities and get to flourish in the way that they see as important, and make their own story for themselves.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, no, it does work. And if you ever have one of these little stars, even though they are not little anymore because they are, as you said, way before you in the club, we would love to have them on a podcast so they can talk about their journey with you, so we can hear the other side of the story, because it is important. And in that way, when you have somebody up there that you're looking at, and as you said, Paul was nurturing him, giving that as an example, is when that person's been there, done that, knows what I feel like, and the understanding is different, and you do feel like, all right, I do belong here, because he started where I was, and I am. So I think see results. It's, I think, one of the best things in everything in life.
Definitely.
To be honest.
And I think it goes back to what you're saying at the beginning about it being like home. Like we see ourselves at Fulham as the family club, and it really comes through in everything we do, because creating that sense of belonging is so important to us. and creating a lifelong love of sport and physical activity is something that we really want to achieve.
What I was very, very impressed about, like Fulham FC's association and everything around it, community-wise, is, when I had my own business and they were filming the commercial in the community, and I was one of the businesses, that they came in and filmed. I absolutely love to see how residents that go to games are having coffees with football players that they see on it is that feeling of a family. You are really there like a big family, and I wish more people will know the fantastic work that's going behind closed scenes, because obviously the media nowadays shows us only what they want to show us, and I think it's very focused on the actual football team rather than the beautiful things that are happening around it. And me and the barber, where it was filmed, we were talking about it, and we were just saying, oh wow, it felt like I knew that football player for like since we were children. Because you feel if you're welcomed in a family, they act like a family. And we've got 2 football teams in this neighborhood, and we are not talking about 2 small ones. But it's amazing to see how they've got theirs, and Fulham's got this big family that comes from all over the UK to see them play. And that's, again, I know because I've seen them coming, and you see them coming as a resident, and I think it's just wonderful.
I think that's a really nice description as well of like our players, because they are really invested in our community activities when they get the chance to come out. We had 2 of our men's first team and 2 of our women's first team come down and see us a couple of weeks ago at the Sunset Arts and Community Centre and spend time with our adults who come for what we call our Fulham Memories Wednesday Club, who are adults who are at risk of social isolation and loneliness.
Is that happening at Sun's End every Wednesday?
Yes, every Wednesday weekly, 11 till 12:30. We're there pretty much every single week. It'll probably just be a small break over Christmas, but that'll be it. But they came down to see us as well, and it absolutely made everybody's day. We had a big Halloween party because it was at the end of October.
Oh, that's amazing.
So it was a little while ago now, but it was just so wonderful to see those players coming in and bringing that what you say, like that family sort of feel into that group and making people feel so welcome and part of it. And people went away with smiles on their faces all afternoon and haven't stopped talking about it since. So
but do you know, it's, like, you now live very near the stadium, but I've spent half of my life in Fulham next to the stadium, so it's just that beautiful atmosphere. And now knowing a bit more of what the foundation does alongside it, and how everybody's so uplifting, because I think that's what it is. You see the entire alphabet streets, let's talk about, they're all going to the stadium. All the children are so proudly wearing the Fulham's uniform, and those children, I think, and families there, I don't think many of them know of the wonderful work that you do alongside the club.
I mean, that's one of the reasons, like, I'm so grateful to be here today with you both, because getting that word out about what we do. I think a lot of people don't know that football club charities exist in the way that they do, that we're not just football, that we do all of these extra things. So getting that word out is so important to us. So thank you so much for having me.
We are so happy to having you here today. Right, so we are doing something with every single guest. We are having a on-the-spot question. Nothing to worry about. Not even, I think, ourselves. Half of the time know what we're going to ask the guest, which I think it makes it even more exciting, because when the face drops, it actually drops. Oh, that's a good question. So, Melinda, do you want me to start, or do you want to start yourself?
You go ahead.
Right, so obviously we know what you're doing now, and I think... And I want to believe that his sense of community and, love for everyone around you comes from somewhere. So if you were to think, what did it make you the Laura that you are today and make you so brilliant at your job? What would little Laura, overlook that big role and say, wow?
Oh, that is a good question. I think what probably has helped me to be successful in my job now is I think there's probably two particular things, and one is that my parents always brought me up to be really open-minded. They never set the world out in a way that made me have a view that was pre-constructed by them. They kind of let me find that out by myself, which I feel very privileged to have had the opportunity to do, because I got to make my own decisions and my own opinions, and we disagree on a lot now, but they enjoy that. Job. Yeah, it comes with the job, and they really enjoy that. That kind of level of learning that they can take from me as well, I hope. And the other side of it is when I was about 14, 16, I was actually a trampoline gymnast.
Oh, wow, we are finding girls.
I know, very different world. But I trained to be a coach with the club that I was training with, and I was coaching a particular young person at the time who was really struggling with their love of sport, and they just weren't engaging. They weren't getting on with the coach that they were working with, so they were moved to my group, and they were actually quite good. They just didn't believe in themselves, and they'd sort of
a whole confidence thing.
Yeah,
sometimes you need that nurturing, like you said.
And working with her, she then went and did a competition and got a medal, and she was so pleased. And I was only like 17 at the time, and I couldn't believe what that had felt like. And suddenly I was like, oh, I know what I want to do. I want to help people, because this was great.
This feels good.
Yeah, and having the right people next to you and with you makes the entire difference of anything and everything.
Yeah, definitely. And I feel like at Fulham FC Foundation, everybody has that sort of drive. Everyone's come from that place of, I want to help people, that's why I'm here. And we all are striving for that same goal. So like you say, having those people who are coming from the same point of view, sitting with you, trying to do those things. On the hard days, it picks you up, and on the good days, it boosts you up even further. So I really value that.
Would you call this your dream job?
I'd definitely say it's something that I would have dreamed of as a kid, yeah. I think I feel very privileged to be in the position that I am. And I'm very grateful for the opportunities that I've been given.
Oh, but you know what? When people say that, you can actually see that from the bottom of their hearts. And it's not just, thinking about the pay or the environment or the name. So, that's why I wanted to know more onto the why you're doing what you're doing today. And now onto Melinda. She's usually the I don't want to say difficult, because she's not, but she always loves, a very deep question.
A challenging question.
A challenging question, yes. That's.
I think, so not the foundation, but on your wish list, if you had like a dream, I don't know, it could be an event, a goal, an objective that you would just absolutely love to see kind of happen. Even something that's hard, that you think would be really hard, really blue sky kind of thinking to get off the ground. What would it be? What would you love the foundation to be able to do? Or
well, that is quite a hard question. I try and do blue skies thinking all the time.
Good.
To give myself that opportunity. But I think sometimes it is really difficult to picture what the world could look like if you could do whatever you wanted. And I think one of the biggest things for me is improving that female engagement in sport and physical activity. I'd love to see a world where that space is equal, where women can be celebrated on the same stage for the same achievements, and sometimes even more because of the challenges that it's taken for us to get there. That's something that's really, really important to me, and I'd love to be a part of that journey to put women on that equal playing field stage. I also... I think that's probably the main
That's
thing.
the one you're going to go for.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with that.
It's a good one, Laura.
Yeah, that is a good one.
Talking about your dream, I think Britain is very privileged to have so many women-led, sport
and it's just growing and growing.
Yeah. But, the rest of the Europe doesn't have that. And I've just seen something the other day that somebody has gone into the parliament with a newborn, asking them to allow more women in the parliament, because I think, like we talked a lot of politics today. It seems to like it's a
It
good
runs
turn.
it runs on themes
runs.
sometimes.
Yeah.
We've had an alpine skier and a trampolinist in
Yes,
the studio
exactly.
today.
You two would have, made an amazing team. That's why both our festival, we couldn't even, we didn't even know.
And anniversaries always seems to be a thing.
Yes.
It's so funny whenever we have guests in the studio. It's always like, oh, it's actually this is a really timely moment for me to be here, and yours was as well.
But it always works like that, I think, in the world. But yeah, going back to like the female thing, I think that's an amazing thing to fight for. And so we said the three women, but at the same time, both me and Melinda, I can say this out loud, we are very pro women, and we love to like lift each other up and everything. But I think the world needs more of it, and I think you're definitely on a right path, especially with the plans that we've heard that 2025 will bring along. Right, well, wanted to say thank you so very much for being here with us in the studio today. And I think this is just a little glimpse of everything that you guys doing, but definitely the next step would be to actually get people that you would recommend to come here and talk to us about the wonderful things that you've been doing from the other side.
And is there anything like an ask from the community? Is there anything from business or residents? Is there an ask that the foundation would love?
A call to action.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really good question. I think from the residents, it's if you know somebody who you think might benefit from anything that we are doing, or you want to know more, then get in touch with us. We are at fulhamfc.com/foundation, and you can find our details on there and everything that we're running. And local businesses, we're always trying to work with local businesses to support more work happening at the foundation. We have a community patron scheme, which is relatively new, and we're always looking for partnerships and things like that to help us support the work that we're doing. So it would be mostly just to get in touch with us and find out more about how you can support us to benefit more people in our local community.
So open to ideas, open to hearing from
Always
people.
open to more ideas. Yes, definitely. That's really important.
And also, would you accept, people to come and volunteer, or, if you have somebody that's interested in sports and is lucky enough to train somewhere else or, elsewhere, and they want to help their local football club with no strings attached. But yeah, if you were to, needing any volunteers.
So we don't typically have volunteers, but we are always looking for people who are interested in getting involved in all sorts of different things, because there are lots of things that people can get involved with, even if that's not directly being there at a particular session. There are some places where you can come down and join in and be a part of it in that way as a sort of volunteer style. And then there are other things where you can be a bit more hands-on, particularly like our fundraising events and things like that, and be a part of that day.
That's great.
Yeah, that's great. No, thank you so much for coming here today. And I think, we've learned a lot.
We have.
Even us, I think we've saying even us, but we usually hear or know, but many things that you've mentioned today, I particularly didn't know of.
No, I wasn't aware of the outside of the football aspect of things, which is great.
Thank you so very much, Laura.
Thank you, Laura. Thank you for coming in. And before we go, I must say a huge thank you to our sponsor, Archie Pango, because we couldn't have done this podcast or had you here without them. And a massive thank you to the studio and to the team here at VoxPod. And a huge extra special thank you to Ryan, who has been an absolute star. So thank you, Ryan. And thank you again, Laura. It was lovely to meet you.
Thanks,
Thank you so much.